Hey, Chuck, we talked last hour about the case itself, so let's take a quick leap and just say, if an indictment does come down, whether it's this week or next or anytime in the future, just walk viewers through what that will look like. I think there's a lot of confusion, concern as to how much of it we will actually see in the legal system there in New York City. He is a former president of the United States. How will he be arrested? How will he be charged? Will we see Donald Trump in handcuffs or perhaps a Donald Trump mugshot? Walk us through it.
Yeah, it's good to talk about the procedure, Jonathan. So first, I don't think he'll be arrested, nor frankly do I think he ought to be arrested. Let me explain that. The reason you arrest people is because they're dangerous or they might flee, or because you're going to move for their detention after they've been charged. I can't imagine that the government here will move for Mr. Trump's detention, or even if they did, that a judge would grant it. And so there's another way of getting somebody in front of a court. You ask them to self-surrender. That's what happened in the Weisselberg case and with other cases brought in the Manhattan District Attorney's Office connected to Trump and some of his minions. So I don't expect an arrest. I would be surprised by an arrest. If he is charged, I imagine he'll be given the opportunity to self-surrender. That means you go to court, you get processed, fingerprinted, and photographed, and you appear before a judge so the judge can begin to set timelines for the case, the dates that motions are due, the dates motions will be argued, and ultimately a trial date. Will we see him in handcuffs? Well, we have seen Weisselberg escorted, for instance, by marshals when he was being processed. I don't like that practice, frankly, Jonathan, and I don't think it's always appropriate. I know the media likes it because it's a good shot, it's a good visual, and I'm not sure, given that we are talking about a former president, that they can't make some other arrangement, not so much for his privacy, but for his security.
Absolutely.
I'm not a fan of Mr. Trump, but I do care about the security of anybody who's been charged in the criminal justice system, as well as their dignity and the fairness with which they are treated.
Well, I would think in this case it would be important to not unnecessarily make a scene. Having said that, again, leaping, if there is an indictment, and he does not self-surrender, because maybe, perhaps, Chuck, he believes that would be better for him politically. What happens if he does not self-surrender?
Sure. It's a great question, Mika. So if he's given the opportunity and he forgoes it, then law enforcement has really no option but to arrest him. By the way, this notion that he knew that he was going to be arrested on Tuesday makes absolutely no sense. You can imagine that law enforcement officers don't tell people when they're planning to arrest them. That would put law enforcement officers in jeopardy. But if he refuses to self-surrender, he won't present himself in front of the court, he doesn't avail himself of that opportunity, then they really don't have much choice, do they?